word for it, but I want to see Apexis bring the fight to them. I don't want to see them, you know, go down 4 rounds and have to claw back from, the back foot, so to say. Again, Haven's one of those maps you talk about momentum, and it's just so easy to keep rolling on this, especially if you've got a defensive team overthinking absolutely everything that's going on, and they're going to be trying to outthink, you know, plays and executions and stuff. But here we go, pistol round. We do have 2 members of Apexis making it down to sewer, and looks like actually G2 are going to send 4 down long. They're going to make it all the way up to site right now. David gets Tardu, Maxic trading out onto David, though. Maxic going to find a second and a third. Ardis finally trading that one out. Ardis will get spike down underneath Heaven. And here we go. Here's the test in the pistol round. 3v2 retake here for Apexis. Let's see if they can get the first round on the board.
Smokes are there and available just to make this a little bit easier, but shock darts from Ardis can do a little bit of damage. Pith is going to be there as their second point of defense. He's been able to pick up one, but Flash at least will be there, and that is going to be Razor to kind of finish things off. It was all down to that spray down we saw from short, to be honest. Not something that should have been able to happen. I thought when I saw a 5-man push or a 4-man push up A long, that was going to be a comfortable plant. But in the end, the Jet just doing a real amount of damage. Max showing what he's made of. And it means that Apexis can go up here.
That's always the tallest order, you know. Getting the pistol round on the board has got to be a confidence booster. We're actually going to see a force coming out from G2, so they're obviously feeling themselves. We've got 2 Spectres going down. Stinger in the hands of Pith, and Ardis going to pick himself up a scope. So G2 going to try and turn around and I guess stop Apexis from getting anything going. Flash going to find Pat first off. Ardis going to trade that one back, though. See Razor and Max now going to play back on default on C site. Actually, Razor going to land a headshot there onto Ardis, and actually the return from David coming out is going to force Razor back behind cover. See if Ardis can convert anything coming into C.
This force hasn't worked out for G2 whatsoever. And that is going to be a comfortable round for Apexis, and it means that G2 not going to be able to buy up, and they are going to be sacrificing the 3rd round to buy up in the 4th. And we do see a couple of teams do that. I mean, you can completely destroy the economy of the opposition team if you are able to get away with it.
Yeah.
But instead, it means that things are just presented to Apexis to go 3-0 up here, unless anything miraculous happens for G2.
This is also bold. The round 3 operator from Maxic here. That's always a bold move, and actually, I mean, if it pays off for them, but again, this is a huge investment in round 3. When you know that they forced up previous rounds, so you know now that they're broke, right? So you've got to kind of read into the economy in that way. Mixwell is actually going to find basics in garage window here. Going to pick up the Spectre dash all the way through to defensive spawn. And I mean, this is it now. If you win that 4th round, sorry, if you lose that 4th round, and now you're able to shut down Apexis on a round they've invested into the operator. This could be terrible here. Tardu's going to get picked up as well.
And that op in Max's hand is going to be very much desired by G2, as I think they smell blood here. They realize they can take this 3rd round when they definitely shouldn't have been able to. We're going to have to see Max go up clutch. He's going to be tagged by the Recon Bolt, and everyone's going to know where he is. And now the ghost shots come through. Oh dear, what has gone wrong here for Apexis? At least Flash can maybe rescue something. Desperately wants to keep that op up behind you at Garage. There's David P. And what on earth has happened there? G2 with no right whatsoever to win that round.
They have absolutely no business losing the 4th round and then winning just an all-out save. I don't know. That's not a good sign going forward here, Dan. I'm not going to lie.
And now Apexis are going to force back because their economy is pretty trash. And this is not the way things usually go at the start of a game of Valorant. Mixwell has the op, though. That's going to be very much a scary factor here. G2, I would argue, will try and get somewhat aggressive with these SMGs and hope that Mixwell can follow up with the op. But Mixwell is first in line at C long. No fear whatsoever as Hunter's Fury tries to tag Flash. He does connect one. Can he get another? No, he can't. But elsewhere, Pith and David P have got kills of their own. Maxic falls, and now Mixwell can find a headshot onto Razorcone. Only needed a body shot, but it doesn't matter as he rips through the skull. And G2 surely taking this round now. Nothing special from Flash. Back to 2-all. And you gotta say, Apexis, they've thrown away a potential 3, maybe even 4-0 lead here.
Yeah, you've got to be looking at that. Like I said, huge investment in round 3 to put the operator on the board, and I mean, G2 punishing that now is like I said, I don't want it to be a sign for the rest of the map, but you've got to think now that, I mean, look, they're even just going to hold on to 3 Spectres as well. 1 Phantom in the hands of Ardis, operator on Mixwell. This is going to be economic domination right here.
Sounds like a wrestling tag team that we would be involved in if we were to ever become wrestlers, which I know would never happen because of my sheer frame and size, but who knows? We can dream.
I've got enough for the both of us, don't worry.
Yeah, you can make up for it. G2 now are going to be pushing up A long here. They've been able to find their way up. They see one in heaven. He's going to be tagged up, but isn't going to be killed. Now they're on site, and Mixwell with the op is going to try and do some damage. Maxic trying to reply with an op of his own. He's going to have to retreat to heaven, I would have thought, as Spike now should be planted. G2 just need to get into after plant positions here. A 5 versus 5 after plant, which is things that I love to see. I mean, this is what you practice for. As Tardu gets the opener, can Mixwell avoid the orbital strike? He can. He's only tagged slightly, but Tardu, his aim is on fire at the moment. He seems to be the driving force for this side, as Basics will at least find one, but Mixwell is doing a job with the op, finds a third, gets the Blades of Fury, but Basics stops him in his tracks. And David P now pushes onto site, finds the first. Can he get the second? No, he can't. Basics clutches up. And Apexis get their 3rd round on the board. It was so close there for David to make that 3-2 to G2. But what a round. Love to see 5v5 retakes.
Yeah, I mean, it always looks great at the end of it, but again, kind of playing off that kind of trade mentality. Mixwell being able to do the work he could from short there. Absolutely huge. It's unfortunate to come away from that and, you know, G2 lose that round, but again, the fact that we had 3 Spectres on the board, it doesn't affect them at all. It does not affect G2 in the slightest right now. You can see straight away, round 6, still with a lot of money on the board as well, Dan. Look at it.
G2 plenty to work with. Apex's buy is somewhat weird. Razorcone tried the showstopper to see if he could catch anyone getting aggressive, but not going to work out. And for G2, they're having a look at a little garage push here. Trying to get sight lines. Ardis tags Basics through the wall and we'll get the kill. Finds the second onto Flash as well. Razorcone says, you know what, I want some of this. I'll have a little peek. Gets a little bit of a spray down, does some damage. But he's just going to have to retreat with this Spectre, as maybe the damage was already done. But at least Max has the op. Finds Ardis. And this is definitely still winnable for Apexis, but as I said, that Mixwell is just relentless with the op. Pat finds one too. And now that's going to be the round for G2, just like that.
And I mean, now again, on that retake situation, losing as many as they did, you've got to think now that this becomes a must-win round for Apexis. And I'm not... I mean, if we can take a quick look at the scoreboard before this one kicks off, I'm not sure the position they're in because... Again, the 4 spies coming out. Yeah, exactly. Look at this now. We're at 3-3. You never want to get less than 4 rounds on defense, or on either side, really, attack or defense in either half. But now they're in a position where they're saving in round 7. Well, it's been such a weird trade back here. I don't know how Apexis like break this now.
Well, it was all down to G2 forcing and then Apex losing the kind of counter force that happened because of it. David and Pith will get 2 openers. At least there was one sort of reply from Basics, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Apexis didn't go for anything too drastic with this round. They didn't go for a 5-man push, but Tardu has found David P with the Sheriff, and maybe if they can find these guns and pick them up, it could certainly be doable. Maxic has picked up the Phantom. Now he can try and reposition himself to see if he can catch any straggling G2 members off guard. Ardis will see where he's residing thanks to the Owl drone, and they've got the spike. So G2, what have you got to offer? Pith gets one for the wall, gets it 2 for 1. Jesus Christ, but it's not going to be enough. Artist there to clean up.
That was fantastic. They lined up perfectly for him. You see Maxtic now backfilling G2 into Garage. He's going to actually get the res onto Razor, putting Artist in a 1v2 situation. Again, Artist knows where that revive came out here, so he's got the information he can get all the way over to a site. See here, he's going to have Recon up in 8 seconds. He's also got 2 shock darts ready to go, so might see him set up for an interesting post plant with Sova here, or maybe just go for the ego chow into the defensive spawn here. Maxic's already coming around. He might actually catch him coming into heaven here. Artist turns on him, shuts Basics down with the headshot. That was close, Dan. If he'd have got caught there.
The Latpudlian Artist, Latvian, and also from living in England, living in Liverpool. Very scout if you hear his comms, and I'm sure he's going to be able to do some real damage. Hunter's Fury just watching the spike here. Hasn't tagged yet, but maybe with the third. Nope. Can Razor get this halfway? He's going to peek. Artist just goes for the shoulder peek, and he's done the job here. Perfect after plant from him.
Perfect.
And that's beautiful. G2 get yet another round. I mean, it was made difficult. Apexis did really well considering the money they had going into that round, but they did force a resurrect into it. So at least G2 can be happy to get rid of that.
Absolutely, getting that ultimate off the board, but it's just fantastic that Artist finding Basics in defensive spawn there is so pivotal towards that. We're going to see this 2-for-1 here from Tardu. He said perfectly lines up for them. Unfortunately, the weapon model actually covering the third player, so Artist gets a free peek onto him. Unfortunate lineup there the second time around with the weapon model, but fantastic double nonetheless from Tardu.
He has been a bit of a thorn in G2's side so far. He's always been the one that has done a little bit of damage. David gets the opener onto Basics and a little bit of Sage on Sage action that everyone wants to see. As Tardu now is going to also get a reply onto David, but that's not going to work out. Artist says no. Maxic goes for a little bit of a...
The tag came through the wall there.
Yeah, I think he might have been able to spot one out, but Mixwell here in hell. He's going to be able to push onto the site, and Pat also getting a little bit of vision. Smoke there. Maxic just not able to do anything from heaven at the moment because there's smokes left, right, and center. Tardu has found a third, but goes down to Pith.
Yeah, you can see there was a second there where Maxic was thinking as soon as Tardu got the third there, he was going to go in for to get traded out immediately, and that's the signal for Max to just save the operator. Again, G2 just looking so good post plant right now. It doesn't look like Apexis has a response at all for this.
It's like very difficult to retake, especially when the smokes are there to stop any player from heaven being able to get any sort of sight lines. Maybe if you're able to get a lucky shot through the smoke, then you might be able to do something on the retake, but you either have to jump out and you're so vulnerable whilst you're mid-air from any player who's holding hell. But it's been a real struggle for Apexis to retake that particular site, and now their money is bad yet again. There is going to be an op bought here, an op saved, of course, so they somewhat buy around the op and a little bit to work with, but we have seen some pretty strange rounds so far in this match, so maybe they can do something with just the pistols they have to work around the op.
Yeah, you can see actually Tardu set up in front of B here. Mixwell dashes through. Pat will lose his life for it, but Mixwell trades it out, and Artist will find Flash and raise it elsewhere. Again, just so quickly now, it's into a 1v4 situation where Maxic Aldrone going to spot him. The tag doesn't even come out. Mixwell is just chasing down based on that information. He's actually going to get flanked from Suez here. There you go. Pith, the freest kill you will see this series with the Phantom spray down into Maxic's back.
Well, you said you don't want less than 4 rounds, but G2 on their way to maybe keeping Apexis at 3, the way things have been going.
3-round curse, Dan. The 3-round curse for Apexis.
They're straight back to it. They were able to double it last time, but doesn't look like Haven seems to be G2's map at the moment. They just do so well on it, especially today, and from what we've seen previously, Artist with 14 kills right now, really stepping it up for the squad and clutching out when he needed to. Razor Cone going to get a little bit aggressive down middle here and might be able to find his way into window and could do some damage. Flash gets taken out by Pat, and now it's going to be the push from G2 down C long here, and there's kills left, right, and center. Maxic gets the op shot onto Mixwell, so at least he's done his job. 3 versus 3. Does he see the player in garage? No, he doesn't. Artis is there. David P gets the res, and this should be a comfortable round for G2. Mixwell making sure Razorcone can't do any sheer damage, as Tardu is the last remaining player. Finds one. We can see him doing this. He's hit some pretty incredible shots. Can't get the second, though. Artis again there to clean things up. 7-3 to G2. Apexis is not able to just break through what G2 have had to offer so far.
No, and I mean now, again, back on a save round, force up a couple of sheriffs. They can pretty much fall by next round, except for Tardu. But I mean, what do you do at this point? You have to stop this momentum. Even if they win a round now, you know, economy-wise, it's not going to mean an awful lot to G2. They can just keep going with this hyper aggression tactic that's working out for them, honestly. Max are going to pop the Blade Storm here. This is the first 2, unfortunately. Only got 3 left in the tank. So hopefully he can get a reset on one of them. Tardu's actually going to find Pat, and that's a big opener. So Apex is being on eco here.
Yeah, Tardu again just being a pain for G2. David P knows there is a player there still in garage, trying to spray him down through the double doors. G2 down a man, but very much up in terms of weaponry, but Razorcone there to make things difficult for Ardis, and no one there to get the trade out. Boombot can also be popped. David P and Mixwell elsewhere at least take down Maxic and Flash to make it 3v3, make that 3 versus 2 as Razorcone falls. Don't think there's been any weapons picked up by Apexis so far, as G2 have done well to protect those weapons on the map. Tardu wants to get them, does have some cyber cages to work with. Maybe he'll be able to find a Phantom and could potentially do some damage here.
Yeah, I mean, the heal coming out there onto Mixwell. It's going to put him back at 100 HP, no armor. Push going to come in here. Basic's going to find one. David will trade that out. It's his 3rd on the round now, and you can see Tardu pushing down mid. Maybe he's just going to try and find a Phantom. Again, David's heal going to be coming around in the next 10 seconds or so, but I mean, if he can convert that damage initially, Neural Theft actually going to get popped here. He's got a Phantom in hand. There you go. He gets the information. David and Pith going to push towards the defensive spawn here. Interesting post plant. It is planted for long, so as soon as Tardu comes through here, he's actually going to have a bit of an advantage here because David and Pith are going to be thinking that he's not going to come from this way right now. And actually, there you go. He's giving his position away. Pith spams a shot, and actually, Tardu replied with a bit of a flick onto the audio cue, baiting him out there. David just comes in, cleans that one up for free.
Again, though, Apex is making it difficult for G2 and certainly doing damage with just sheriffs, but it's just not enough. These kills don't add up to rounds. They need more than 3 realistically going into this next half. 8-4, and I'd say it's still salvageable somewhat.
Well, I mean, it's salvageable, but the thing to consider, G2 play defense on Haven just as quick as they play the offense. So yep. It's so difficult to counter, especially on this. Actually, I was going to say that I was nearly getting the 2-piece there, but it does get traded out. But it's so difficult to counter aggression on this, especially if you go for like a defensive like execute in terms of aggression. There's so much value you can get off it. Maxic actually hiding in his own cloudburst there. Aldrone didn't spot him, but Mixwell didn't find him. Razor going to find one. Artist there to trade out with the operator. And that will be a site. Flash looking like he's going to put down the orbital strike just to cancel off the spike going down just immediately. Going to buy themselves a little bit of time. Mixwell up on the wall. He's got an angle on Heaven. And Apexis are still in a defensive spawn. They're actually going to push through Arch here. Basics needs to find this kill onto Mixwell. He's just out of LOS. He's just out of line of sight.
Has some smokes to work with as well. Finds the first. That was easy. Second doesn't quite connect, but Basics takes down Mixwell. Does get the res, but it's going to be easy pickings for the boys. They pop out as soon as they get that audio cue. 9-3 for G2. And I think the biggest takeaway for me when G2 are attacking is just how quick they are to do so.
Yeah. They convert on initial pick or the initial information. They literally they collapse on anything that Apexis give up. They're so quick to react to it. And when you have a team that's playing this versatile, there's not an awful lot you can do. Again, Haven, the triple bomb site map, it's so difficult to control a team playing like this.
G2 just have no fear as well. I mean, how many times have you played Haven with a team that will just kind of sit in spawn, sit around second mid, and be scared to push down C long, be scared to push down A long? There isn't that fear from G2. They kind of buddy up. There's always two of them together to ensure they get a trade if there's any aggression from the other side. But now for Apexis, we have to see what they can offer attacking here on Haven.
See, actually, yeah, Mixwell and David swung on mid there, but the four-man push coming through Garage here. Contact going to come through for Pith. He finds one. He gets the headshot the second, but Tardy will trade it out. Basics with the heal now. Spike not gone down just yet, but Flash and Mixwell both find one. Basics is going to find Mixwell as well, and that should be the site. And actually, Pat, we get Flash on an unfortunate angle there, but again, this one they're not going down without a fight just yet. Spike will go down behind default. You can already see somebody creeping up underneath Basics. He didn't even spot him there. Ardis did some good damage down. Razor's actually going to shut him down initially, and there you go. Pat will get traded as well. I don't know how Ardis got that close. I thought maybe for a second there, I was like, maybe we've got a weird little X-ray bug here, and that player's the wrong color, but it was actually an enemy.
Sometimes your vision's just so impaired when you're in that back corner of C site that someone can creep up C long. Didn't matter in the end though. Apexis pick up a pit stall round, but if you remember what happened at the first half of this game, everything went to tatters because G2 then forced up and they changed things. I wonder whether we'll see something a little bit similar from G2 or whether this is going to be more of a standard couple of rounds after pistol. Apexis are very much heading their way towards the A site, and you're walking straight into a shorty. Unfortunately, the reload comes out from Pat, and Tardy will get two. And now the A site can be conquered, and Spike can be planted.
Well, and that's why you don't always shoot the second on the shorty. If you get the kill, unfortunately, he could have picked him off for the second, but I'm sure the trade would have come through there. Flash actually going to find David in heaven there. Again, I don't think we've seen too much of an investment into this round from G2, so again, pretty much writing this one off. Pith might get himself a nice little exit there. Tardu spraying and knifing the wall. Absolutely, there's instant karma for Tardu there.
You hate to see it, but you love to see it at the same time. And maybe Pith can get a couple more exit frags if anyone decides to head up towards the defender spawn, but it doesn't look like Apexis are going to play into that. They are very wise to it. They saw where the frag came from, and instead they retreat elsewhere. Razor is having a little bit of a look-see to see if he can spot him out. Pith, maybe he could run straight into him here, but no, he doesn't. Razor goes through Garage, so nothing to worry about. And all right, normality restored in terms of what happens after a pistol round, G2 with the 9-5 advantage still, but now they can buy up the rifles. And this is where it becomes difficult for Apexis, because G2 do like to get aggressive down A long, down C long, sometimes even down middle. So Apexis is going to have to be very careful.
I mean, look at it right now. We've got 3 players stacked over towards A. Mixwell outside Garage. Pith solo on C. And this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. These defensive executes coming out from G2. And we've seen it a couple of times on the other Haven. We saw, look at this aggression immediately. David, straight down short. They've got the information now. At this point, they just collapse. They collapse back on it. Actually going to get the push all the way through to attacker spawn here. Actually, Maxek got to be careful because he's got 2 players from G2 close by. There you go. Pat will find him. And again, now, all of this is so much value here.
Tardo at least gets one onto Pith. Maybe they can get the spike down here on C, but has the damage already been done? Basics falls to Mixwell. Spike being planted. 4 members still remaining on the side of G2, and they've got rifles against very poor weaponry. Ardis gets an op shot onto Tardu. David cleans things up, and that's going to be G2 going 10-5 up. And it's just so much confidence. I mean, when you know you're going out into that 3rd round, Apexis still had a weak fight. They still had SMG, so usually the last thing you want to do is get aggressive and offer yourself a free kill. But instead, they buddy up, they push down A long, they get the information needed, and they just have sheer amount of disrespect, you could say, for Apexis, saying, look, we don't care where you are. We're going to be pushing around, we're going to flank, and we're going to take this round right away from your hands.
Yeah, and again, Maxi getting caught off there at the back of window. Pith, all the while, again, all he needs to do is just survive as long as possible. And playing back at Plat there, again, he's always going to die in that situation. There's no way he gets the 1v4 from that push from Apexis. But even just getting one, again, it just makes it so much more difficult to even turn anything around there. David going to open this one up with the operator. Already in a 5v4 in the favor of G2. Mixwell going to get Maxic at the front. Doesn't get the second flash. Will trade that. But I mean, just look at it. Every time Apex is going to kill, it's just immediate counter aggression from G2.
11-5. And that was a simple one, as expected for G2. And now this has to be the turning point for Apexis. They need to win this round and they need to start stringing rounds together. Otherwise, this series will come to a conclusion very quickly. And could be Apex's tournament coming to a conclusion as well. They would find themselves at 0-2 in the group, and that means the only way they would go through would be a three-way tie of 3 teams on 1-2. For G2, they would be at 2-0 and should be there or thereabouts through it.
I mean, it's a consideration to make, though, right? Apex's round score has got to be the tiebreaker there, and you got to feel like they're not in a great position in that case.
Yes, like even if it did get to 3 teams being on 1 and 2, then yeah, their round score has to be a little bit better, but I guess we'll worry about that when results come in. Mixwell getting aggressive again. Pat also on the other side saying, you know what, I want to see what's happening over here at A-Long, and this is just a massacre. 3 players down from Apexis. At least Basics is able to find 1. Pith goes down as well, and okay, maybe there's a little bit of over-aggression here from G2. Has offered the chance for Apexis to somewhat get back in this round, but they need to recover that spike first and foremost before they can even think about winning this round.
Yeah, and actually, T2 going to peel all the way back now. Mixwell playing C-side. David actually looking to get aggressive with the operator. That barrel's going to stick out a long way, David. Oh, it's not actually looking the right way. Basics getting caught there. Again, this peek out of double doors with the operator, you see the barrel of the gun so early. Unfortunately, Basics just... a really unfortunate timing from there. He actually spun around to check a different angle. David picking up a freebie outside garage.
Just down to the last remaining player. It's going to be Maxic. Does find the first. 20 seconds remaining. Still doable, but they are split at the moment. 1 on A, 1 on C. Does he see the player at C long? He does. And that's a third. Plant can come down now. Has to stick it realistically just to try and...
Blade Storm as well. Yeah, he's going to pop it.
Stop the amount. And there is the Blade Storm. That's going to be the 4th for Max. And that is going to be the round for Apexis. And that shouldn't have been winnable, really. G2, after the opening frags, probably should have backed off a little bit sooner than they did. But maybe they got overconfident and really paved the way back into the round for Apexis.
I mean, it's definitely good to see Apexis kind of punish G2 a little bit in that round. Definitely not one you should be losing, that's for sure. But fantastic work from Maxic nonetheless.
Well, maybe that's a sign of things to come for Apexis. Do they just wait for G2 to get aggressive here? But David P again gets the opener. Pat there for the second. Can he find the third? But elsewhere, David has got one of his own. And Apexis, I mean, their money was still pretty tight. And there's just so much lack of respect right now from G2. Tardu is going to be the last remaining player. At least he gets 1 to work with, but surely no way back into this round now. G2 playing defense on Haven how it should be played realistically. I see so many teams that sit back and they wait and they allow themselves to find themselves in 5v1 situations on sites. But G2 taking the game to Apexis, saying, look, we're going to take advantage of your slow-paced nature right now, and we're going to push up and get in your face.
It is, yeah. And, again, if you're getting rolled this hard by, the defensive team being this aggressive, I mean, it doesn't even give you an opportunity to kind of walk down, set up for an execute onto a site. You don't get a chance to breathe at all. It's just taking an absolute... Just an absolute control of this map. This is a masterclass from G2.
Well, they push out again. David P finds the first. Mixwell a second. Flash might have been able to find one of his own. Those Basics getting the res, so it's back to a 4 versus 4, and it's backs against the wall for Apexis. Now, they have to win this round, otherwise they're going to find themselves 0-2 down in both the series and the tournament. But Mixwell just rubbing salt in the wounds. Artist gets 2 of his own, and now we're down to just
The
1
Hunter's
player.
Fury catches him.
Basics can't catch a break. Gets caught out by the Hunter's Fury. Can't connect with the shots with the Sheriff, and that's going to be 13-6 for G2, winning the series 2-0.